Welcome into Steelers Latest, your daily spot for all news and information related to your Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm your host, Cole Denis. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content to stay up to date with everything Steelers. But let's rock in as we talked yesterday about the possibility of making the deal for Tyreek Hill after such an abysmal first week for the Dolphins against the Colts, 33-8. Never like to see it. The Colts aren't supposed to be a good team this year. The Dolphins, I had higher hopes for coming in. Tyreek Hill already disgruntled on the sideline. We've seen over the past couple of years, he gets angry with the team pretty fast down there. Steelers have been linked with him for the past couple of years every time these rumors come around. So, what would Miami want in return for Tyreek Hill? With the relationship being so sour in Miami, I think you might be able to get a lower asking price, but according to Dolphins insider Armando Salguero, he said it's going to take a late third, a fourth, and a fifth. And if that's truly all it takes for the Steelers to get a player with the talents of Tyreek Hill, I know he's above the age of 30, but the talent's still there. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. You got DK on the other side. You got Al Alston back in the slot. We'd have a really dangerous receiver core if we brought him in. And all those rounds, third, fourth, fifth, we have multiple picks in. The third, I think we have three. And the fourth and fifth, we got two. You give up one in each round, still got picks in all those rounds. So I don't see the real cost in giving up those picks. The real cost comes when you're looking at the salary cap hits. This year, it's like 27.5 million. Next year, he would be under contract also, and that's really gets a little risky because it's a $50 million cap hit. Maybe the Steelers could renegotiate that, but that is really probably what's going to hold this trade up. If we can't renegotiate that 50 million number for next year in cap hit, that I mean, I don't see the trade really happening if you can't change that just because it makes it hard. Little wiggle room with that. I know we have a lot of cap room next season, but we like to be able to sign a decent amount of talent instead of just having one star like Tyreek Hill eating up all your cap space. I mean, we got multiple stars eating up a chunk of cap space. 50 million for a receiver in 1 year is crazy. Once again, you might be able to renegotiate with him, extend him, just change that contract a little bit because that number is ridiculous. And that is where big risk comes into play when talking about trading for someone like Tyreek Hill. Let's move on to Broderick Jones, though, as he came out in the media yesterday talking about his bad performance once again. Back at it, sucking ass. Jones came out to take responsibility, of course, for his terrible performance in Sunday's game against the Jets, but he allowed 3 out of the 4 sacks while also allowing a handful of pressures. If it continues this week, which, in my opinion, could definitely happen, going up against Leonard Williams and that Seattle front, uh, might be time to consider other options. You got Andres Pete, you got Anderson behind him that he's dealing with fitness right now, so when he comes back from that, you could probably get him in there. But this is Jones's third year, and I've never seen any flash of consistent, solid play from this guy. Roderick was a first round draft pick. He's supposed to be a stud on at the tackle position coming out of college, Georgia. He was really good. Don't know what happened. Just hasn't been able to put that together consistent, solid snaps in the NFL. Not someone you can rely on from a play-to-play basis. Hopefully, it can improve in this next match. But once again, going up against Seattle's defensive front is a little scary, and Leonard Williams could give him trouble if they try to play the matchup game like I would if I was Seattle. Let's move on to some player grades. Jones, he came in at 54.5 last week in last week's game against the Jets, one of the lower offensive line grades. But a 4 touchdown performer also got the same grade as Aaron Rodgers. Somehow PFF doesn't put any any respect on his name, in my opinion here. Rated him. I have 54.5, just like Broderick Jones. Doesn't make any sense to me, considering our offense has looked abysmal for years. Rodgers is really the only him and DK are really the two major changes to this offense this year, and the offense was clicking instantly. So DK can only do so much at wide receiver. It's usually the quarterback that's gonna get the offense clicking that fast, and I just don't see it. They're saying a couple pressure throws, couple dropped interceptions is the reason he got hit so hard in the grade, which of course those did happen. But feel like you look at everything else that happened in the game, you can basically shake those off because they really weren't even that terrible of plays when it comes down to it. I mean, if they did end up being picked off, would have been an awful situation. They get dropped. I know they're turnover worthy plays, but in my opinion, if they didn't fully if he didn't actually turn the ball over, it shouldn't weigh as much as a turnover worthy play does. But it does. Looking at some other top performers for the Steelers wide receiver weapons were the main top five players on the offensive side of the ball, grade wise. Of course, Ben Storani, DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Jalen Warren, all of them led the way offensively. Warren was involved in the receiving game. Also was good in just picking up rushers in the first game of the year. So he gets a good grade. To the defensive side of the ball, no surprise. TJ Watt was the team's best performer over there, while the rest of the interior defensive line really struggled. Didn't look all that good, especially after Hayward went down with injury. The sad news to me was the complete lack of Peyton Wilson after I talked about him taking a jump this year and last week being the start to that. Guess what? It wasn't. This week, hopefully, can be a little bit better. Positive news, though, Jalen Ramsey in his debut was the second highest rated player, and he shut down any receiver, any ball thrown his way. It was not happening. Jalen really shut down the Jets receiving core, and we saw it at the end of the game with that big hit on Garrett Wilson to close the deal and force the turnover on downs. But let's close the deal on this show with the injury report as Steelers are dealing with a couple nagging injuries entering week 2 already. We know Deshaun Elliott and Derek Harmon aren't going to play against the Seahawks because they both got sprained MCLs. Who are the two dealing with the nagging injuries? Nick Herbig, Joey Porter Jr., two players dealing with hamstring injuries. Herbig was limited at practice Wednesday. Porter didn't practice at all. We hope both of these guys can be ready to go Sunday. I have a little bit more faith in Porter with him playing last week that he'll play again this upcoming week. Herbig didn't play last week, but hopefully he can return against Seattle because it seems like we needed some help up front if basing it off of last week's game. But that has been it from Steelers Latest. I've been your host, Cole Denis, and I will see you tomorrow.